Welcome to an after-action report for combat mission beyond Normandy. Today, I'm taking on the role of the Germans in a meeting engagement set in the French village of Argenteuil. Our sole objective is to secure the town centre, crucial for controlling the rail supply network that sustains our front lines. To achieve this objective, I command a Panzer Aufklärung reconnaissance battalion, comprising 3 motorised infantry companies, a half-track and a Stug 3. In addition, I have under my command a company of regimental pioneers with 2 mortar sections. My opponent, Janaldrin, from the Few Good Men forums, will lead the American forces, aiming to capture Argenteuil and disrupt the Wehrmacht supply network. While I lack specific intelligence on his forces, I anticipate they will be comparable in strength to my own. 4th Company advances directly north towards the main road into town, with the half-track scouting ahead, while 3rd Company follows closely behind. Meanwhile, 2nd Company, accompanied by the Stug, moves west towards the railway. The regimental pioneers, along with the heavy machine guns and mortar sections, remain in the centre. My strategy involves pushing the 2nd Company aggressively into the Americans' rear on the western side of the track, while my main force captures the objective. Three minutes into the battle, 2nd Company reaches the railway and the half-track arrives at the village entrance, yet there's still no sign of the enemy.
Beobachten.
4th Company, avoiding the main road, reaches the town's edge and begins searching for the enemy. Meanwhile, the half-track detects American infantry moving northeast, possibly attempting a flanking manoeuvre. On the opposite side of the map, 2 platoons from 2nd Company are exposed in the open and suffer heavy casualties from a Browning automatic rifle.
Enemy infantry sighted. Enemy infantry.
The HQ of the 4th Platoon seeks refuge in a building and attempts to provide cover for the advance. The HQ of 2nd Company seeks cover near the track, as its rifle sections find themselves exposed in the open. The platoons of 2nd Company attempt to take cover in a small woodland area, but they become pinned down and rendered ineffective. The 2nd Platoon of 4th Company occupies a house that overlooks the central objective area in Argenteuil. Six minutes into the battle, I'm confident that my plan is progressing smoothly. Despite half of 2nd Company being pinned down west of the railway, their role is to draw Americans away from the centre of town. Meanwhile, the 4th Company is well positioned to secure the objective early. The American flanking manoeuvre north of town continues to concern me, as I have no idea how large their force might be. I decide to keep most of the 3rd Company in reserve in case it proves to be significant. Just as the Stug gets into a good position to target some exposed infantry, I spot an approaching M10 tank destroyer. Although it's not clear from this angle, both tanks have line of sight on each other. They fire while reversing, but both shots miss. In my haste to capture the objective, the 1st squad of 4th Company's 3rd Platoon advances directly into the path of an M4 Sherman. They are relentlessly machine gunned until they lose hope and retreat. Half of 2nd Company, still trapped in the woods, is now bombarded with mortar fire, but they remain in position. However, it is not long before I get some payback. An American attack, aiming to dislodge my position on the railway track, advances directly into the path of my Stug in a misguided manoeuvre. Urban fighting around the objective in central Argenteuil intensifies. I send men across the track to secure additional buildings, but in hindsight I should have stayed put since I had a strong position already. Two American soldiers with a fucking death wish charge the half-track. The driver panics and reverses without orders. Incredibly, the 2 Americans manage to kill the machine gunner, then retreat safely without being hit or losing their nerve. Unbelievable. The full extent of the flanking manoeuvre is finally revealed. I had kept an entire company in reserve to defend against what turned out to be, at most, 3 platoons. At least the west side of town was going in my favour. The earlier misguided American attack continues to work to my advantage as I catch more of their troops out in the open and pin them down. Nine minutes into the battle, the 4th Company has secured the objective and is now working to clear the Americans from the buildings overlooking the railway. The 3rd Company is positioned in the rear, guarding the northeastern flank. The 2nd Company is split and applying pressure, while the Stug holds a dominant position at the centre of the battlefield. The rifle sections of 2nd Company, trapped in the woodland throughout the battle, are ordered to pop smoke and retreat. Simultaneously, the rest of 2nd Company begins their attack on the west side of the town, supported by the Stug 3. The half-track suffers even more bad luck as the panicking driver reverses into a cobblestone wall. Getting the vehicle stuck, this makes it easy pickings for the M4, which makes short work of it. Although this footage may not convey it, the 2nd Company's assault is proceeding well. The M4 positions itself to shoot across the railway at my hunkered down infantry on the objective. I have plenty of Panzerfaust at my disposal, but the range is so limited that my men would need to run into the open to make a shot. This is exactly what I attempt a couple of minutes later, with the 1st and 2nd platoon of the 4th Company sprinting to a hedgerow under fire. It turns into a complete disaster, resulting in many casualties. Another major blunder occurs simultaneously when the 3rd Platoon HQ moves up to a wall, only to be met by the entirety of Able Company.
It's a whole other company! Oh shit!
At this point, I realise my mistake with 3rd Company and order them further into town to support 4th Company. I leave a couple of MG teams in order to deter any further flanking attempts. After having the M10 in my sights for a while, I reverse the Stug to get a shot at it. The manoeuvre is much slower and clunkier than I expected, but fortunately, the M10 gunner seems to have been having a bad day. The Stug fires first, with great effect.
Everybody out!
13 minutes into the battle, my plan to distract the Americans with 2nd Company is working. However, in the centre of Argenteuil, my efforts to capture the western side of the rail line have failed, turning the objective into a bloodbath, a trend that, unfortunately, shows no signs of stopping. Chaos erupts in the objective zone as the 3rd Company joins the fight. An American platoon is spotted taking forward positions in several houses. With the M10 destroyed and the M4 on the other side of town, the Stug is free to advance uncontested. I finally figure out how to use the mortars and begin hammering American rear positions. The 3rd Company arrives at the objective to support the now battered 4th Company. I would soon realise that bunching them all up like this in an active war zone was a poor decision. An attempt to advance with the Stug alongside 2nd Company's 1st Platoon goes poorly, but not as disastrously as 3rd Company's assault. First, they are hit by an off-map mortar strike, which kills 13, and then, as they launch their assault, the M4 arrives to gun them down. A well-placed machine gunner pins down the remainder of the company. It was at this point that I knew I had lost the battle. Even though I still held the objective, I simply wouldn't have the manpower to maintain control. Heavy off-map mortars bombard both sides of town, weakening my position on the objective even further. I spot an American 2-inch mortar and capture this impressive shot of it landing a direct hit on 3rd Platoon's 2nd Company as they cross a field. Second Company continues to fight bravely, attacking the southwest side of Argenteuil. At this point, many of my men are refusing to move, exhausted, panicked, rattled, or retreating without orders. The Americans launch an attack across the track, but they appear spooked and retreat, with the assault looking disorganised and confused. As heavy fighting rages between the buildings, I hold my position with the remaining men on the objective. Ginaldrin will need to launch an attack to dislodge me. Another American push for the objective proved extremely costly. B Company's 2nd Platoon loses a single man and retreats, while other squads show more bravery and hold their ground. The M4 fires at a building, collapsing the south-facing wall and killing an MG section from 4th Company in the process. 20 minutes into the battle, the shattered 4th and 3rd Companies are barely holding on to the objective. Meanwhile, the 2nd Company has settled into some houses and is applying much needed pressure on the American flank. I decide the best course of action is to hold position and hope that Ginaldrin makes a mistake. The rifle sections of 2nd Company refuse to advance, becoming rattled, and for good reason, as artillery rains down. The rest of 2nd Company launches an attack towards the church, which initially goes well. However, by the time they reach the wall, they're shaken and some begin to retreat. An American attack on the objective goes poorly, as most of the buildings are secured by MG positions. Similarly, the remnants of the flankers on the northeastern side of the village are getting close, but are pinned down by fortified positions. Artillery continues to hammer the rear of 2nd Company. On the front line, a platoon advances across the open field, attempting to capture the next row of houses. Meanwhile, the Americans can be seen repositioning in the distance. The Stug is caught out by the M4 after my orders don't play out as intended. The M4 is armed with a 105mm howitzer, meaning it isn't designed for anti-tank use. It would need a lucky shot to penetrate, even at this angle. The first shot goes through the skirt and explodes against the side armour, taking out the left track. Although the second shot doesn't penetrate, the Stug is now a sitting duck. In what I can only assume is a punishment for their poor performance, the M10 tank crew makes a daring attack on a German MP40 carrier. It does not end well for them. Another 105mm shell explodes against the armoured skirts of the immobilised Stug. The next shell finally penetrates, killing the entire crew. A blast is so powerful, it blows apart the cobblestone wall. A large American counterattack against the 2nd Company in the southwest of town is successfully repelled. The moment of reckoning arrives as the M4, which has been playing very defensively until now, crosses over the track into the objective area, followed by an American platoon using it as cover. Given the heavy losses I've sustained and the elimination of the Stug, I have little hope of taking out the Sherman. I have very few Panzerfaust left. At this point, the only advantage I have is the abundance of NG-34s positioned in various buildings around the objective. The Americans seem unwilling to charge them, and often retreat after taking a few bursts. Third Company's bad luck continues as they suffer a well-placed shot from the Sherman's 105 gun. Shrapnel kills 6 and triggers a mass rout. I've been impressed by 2nd Company's performance throughout the battle. Despite being greatly diminished, they continue to carry out my orders and keep the pressure on. At this point, I need to encircle the Americans if my other companies are to get any relief. Another American squad attempts to cross the rail line, but then falls back and retreats. It appears that Ginaldrin is encountering the same issue I faced earlier on in the battle. Attacking is resulting in heavy losses. The urban fighting on the western side of town reaches its peak intensity. A Wehrmacht soldier goes as far as to shoot 2 cowering Americans dead with his Walther as he enters a building. After several failed American infantry assaults, the M4 is pulled back due to the lack of supporting infantry. However, this is not much of a victory, as my units are so scattered and exhausted that they cannot hold out much longer. Just when I think things couldn't possibly get worse, I am hit with another round of artillery. I witness another American retreat from the objective area, but I don't interpret this as a sign that I'm gaining the upper hand. At this point, the western side of town has devolved into complete chaos. On a positive note, an American mortar that is repositioning is caught out by a second floor MG nest. At this point, my only hope is that Ginaldrin will accept a ceasefire and effectively grant a draw to this battle. I send a passionately written letter to the American Company HQ, but it is promptly rejected. Sensing weakness, the M4 returns to my side of the line. My request for a ceasefire was a red flag, signalling to my opponent that I was beaten. The battle in the southwestern part of town grinds to a halt, with both sides lacking the manpower to continue fighting. Most of my men across all 3 companies are shaken and unable to follow further orders. The chain of command has disintegrated so badly that the remaining troops are mixed together fighting for survival. There's nothing I can do about the M4, and I clearly need to improve my understanding of the Wehrmacht's anti-tank capabilities. 34 minutes into the battle, I offer my surrender to Ginaldrin, who accepts. Unfortunately, there are no statistics available for this battle, but it's safe to say I lost by a large margin. Once again, many thanks to Ginaldrin from the Few Good Men forums for commanding the American forces in this game. He has been a great opponent and I look forward to future engagements with him.